lesson number 3 was really the game changer for me. It shifted responsibility from external to me. And it was like all of a sudden I reclaimed my power and ability to truly create my future based on what I wanted for myself and for my family. And in this video, I am sharing lesson number 3, plus 11 other lessons that make 12 lessons from my 12 years of growing my online coaching business. So if that is something that you are interested in, let's go. Welcome back to my channel. I am Lori Kennedy, the founder of the Wellness Business Hub. And this channel is for practitioners and coaches who are starting and growing their online coaching business. And so if that is you, remember to hit that subscribe button and click that bell so that you get notified of any and all future videos that we post. Today, I have something a little different. I thought I would get a little personal and share 12 lessons that I have learned over the last 12 years of growing my coaching business. I thought for this inaugural episode that I would compile a list of the 12 big lessons that I have learned over the last 12 years of growing an online coaching business. And to be honest, when I started, it wasn't an online coaching business. It was me going online with a digital product. It wasn't even, I don't even think I could say that it was a business because my nutrition practice at the time was my primary business. This was me having a side hustle. This was me really testing the waters to see if this whole online thing was valid, would work for me. And so the very first product that I ever created was a holistic nutrition product. And I don't even remember how much I sold it for, to be honest. And I launched it on December 26th, 2012, after working on it for 8 months. And I did make money, which was mind blowing to me. And that was my entry. That was the gateway for me. That was the gateway drug into having what is now a multi-7-figure per year online, global online coaching business with a team of 40-ish incredible human beings who choose to work here at the Wellness Business Hub. And so 12 years have passed between that first investment into a mastermind of $20,000, investing to work with Bedros Keuilian and Craig Ballantyne. And now where, we are one of the leading online coaching businesses for practitioners and coaches. And I would say that we are the only online coaching business that works with complete newbies and gets them established and set up and ready to rock and roll online, because almost everyone else works with people who are already established and already have client experience. And so we really are the leading business coaching program in terms of zero to clients. And so much has happened in the last 12 years. And I was thinking about what I want to share with you in this inaugural episode, in this kickoff episode of the Zero to Clients podcast. And the best thing that I think I can share with you is not tech automations, and it's not how we run Facebook ads, although I am planning on doing an entire multi-series on paid ads using Meta. And it's not how to hire, and it's not how to train, and it's not how to use Instagram. I think, I've grown so much in my own mindset and in my own identity that the very best thing, the most valuable things I think that I can share with you is more along the lines of personal development. It's more along the lines of lessons that I've learned and experiences that I have gone through over the last 12 years of generating tens of millions of dollars, working with thousands of clients, having an active community of over 100,000 human beings, being, stabbed in the back, being all of these things, that having my ads account being shut down, getting surprise tax bills. Like there's so much that has gone on over the last 12 years. So I thought that this would be the very best way to start the Zero to Clients podcast. Please do subscribe. I am going to be consistent and produce an episode every week, but there's also going to be random things that I'm just going to audio record for you and just publish. So make sure that you subscribe wherever you listen so that whenever I download a nugget and I want to share it with you, this is sort of going to be my way of communicating with you, learning lessons and strategy and things just like on a whim, in addition to our regularly published episodes. So go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. And if you would be so kind to leave a review, this tells the podcasting platforms that the content is good and helpful, and will then raise the podcast in the ranking and more people will get to listen to it. And when more people get to listen to the Zero to Clients podcast, that means more practitioners and coaches are turning their professional training and their personal experiences into online coaching programs, which means we are collectively transforming the health of our communities, which is the whole freaking point. So let me get started. Lesson number 1. This was a big one, and I still struggle with this, to be honest, and it is separating me being a practitioner and me being a business owner. And if you have not separated those identities, do it now. They are two completely different identities. So my identity as a coach is not the same as my identity as a business owner, right? Me as a coach requires more empathy. It requires patience. It requires a different style of communication. It requires an entirely different skill set than me as a business owner. Right? Me as a coach, even if I was to think back to me as being a nutritionist, right? Me being that practitioner, I operate very differently than when I am sitting in my business owner seat with my business owner hat on. They are two completely different identities and two completely different skill sets and two completely different traits. Like different traits are needed from being a practitioner and being a business owner, right? Being a business owner, I need to be much more logical, which is extraordinarily difficult for me. I need to be more patient. I need to think long term. I need to understand and have an entirely different skill set than I do me being a coach. So if you have not yet separated the identity, like literally your mannerisms change. When I'm coaching, my mannerisms are not the same as when I'm sitting in a meeting with my lawyer and my CFO, right? When I'm sitting in a meeting with my lawyer and my CFO, I am much more in my masculine. I'm much more strong-willed. I'm much more firm. I'm much more authoritative. I'm much more like, nope, this is what I want. Let's make it happen. Versus when I'm coaching, I'm holding space for my client. It's a different energy, right? And so you have to sort of toggle between the two depending on what the scenario is. So lesson number 1, and if you literally take nothing else away from anything that I say ever, let it be that there are your identity, mannerisms, traits, and skills are completely different between you being a practitioner or coach and you being a business owner. Lesson number 2, we need to have a mindset shift from focusing on program content and like writing the modules to selling the program. This was one of the biggest ahas for me. I spent way too much time focusing on the program content and most certainly not enough time learning how to sell it. And I see this every single day when I work with clients, either in the Zero to Clients business coaching program or in the next sort of iteration of that, which is the Enrollment Academy. And I have practitioners and coaches coming to me all the time and saying, my program's not working. My program's not any good. And I said, well, how do you know that? And they say, well, because nobody's enrolling. I'm like, oh, that has nothing to do with the quality of your program. You just need to learn how to sell it. And so one of the biggest mindset shifts for me, other than separating my identity as a practitioner and a business owner, is really shifting away from redoing the program and updating the program content and focusing on the program content to really investing in learning how to sell it, from lead gen to marketing to sales to customer support. That is a big, big lesson that I have learned over the last 12 years. Lesson number 3. This is a good one. I hope you're not multitasking. If you're not multitasking, if you are multitasking, please just stop and listen to me for a second, because this is a game changer. I am responsible for my own suffering, and therefore I am responsible for ending it. This is something that I share with my clients a lot, and I say, so you're choosing to suffer then? Right? When they give me an example and they're like, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. Okay. So you're suffering. So how do we end it? Right? How do we end it? How do we end your suffering? What would you like to do? Because there's always options. There's always options. And this is something that I heard from Dr. Shefali, and she is the author of The Conscious Parent. And I went to a parenting conference with her, seminar. And I remember her saying this, where she makes decisions to end her own suffering in terms of parenting, which is so true. I make decisions all the time to end my own suffering. And how I do that is I say to myself, if this was simple, what would it look like? If this was simple, what would it look like? If I had a solution to this, what would it look like? So instead of making statements that this is hard and this doesn't work and you don't like this and you don't like that, which is a form of suffering, we can say, this is challenging. How do I ease the challenge, right? We are responsible for ending our own suffering. No one else is. No one is going to come along and fix the problem for you. No one's going to come along and grow your business for you. No one's going to come along and put boundaries in place for you. No one's going to come along and ask, your husband to do the laundry, for example. Like, we are responsible for ending our own suffering. And that was a big lesson that I've learned. And so if you are frustrated, you are the one that's going to have to unfrustrate it, because nobody else is going to be able to do that for you. Lesson number 4. This is a favorite. Do not be married to anything. You're going to have to pivot a lot. So whatever strategy you're using, for example, to get your first 10 clients, is likely not going to be the strategy that you're using or the only strategy that you're using to make $1 million. So the idea is that they are just strategies. And if they work, amazing. And if they don't work, great. We're just going to pivot and we're going to do something else. So we're not going to be married to, well, this is the way that I was taught, and so this is the way that I have to do it. And I know that might seem, let's say frustrating, because, well, if I was taught to do it this way and it's not working, then what am I supposed to do? Well, just because you haven't figured out how to make it work doesn't mean it's not working, right? And so I'll give you an example of don't be married to anything and pivot. So even an offer, right? There's times where you're going to have to change your offer. You're going to have to modify your offer because of market conditions, right? At the time of recording this, we are in, I don't even know what it is, but there's a shift in the market. We're coming up to a US election. There's a shift in the market. And so we now have to accommodate to that. Having a business is a living, breathing organism, and it reacts to the temperature of the environment, just like a tree does, just like grass does. It's a living, breathing organism. And so we cannot be so static. We cannot be so rigid in what we do, especially if you want to, withstand the tough times, right? my financial advisor said, like, we don't want to waste a crisis, right? There's always positives that can come out of any good crisis. And so you don't want to be married to anything. You want to be open to everything, and you want to be able to be agile enough in your business that you can quickly pivot if you see that something isn't working, or for example, you need to take an extended period of time off. God forbid something happens in your life and you need to take time off. Okay, well, you need to be able to pivot, right? So don't be married to anything and absolutely pivot. Lesson number 5, learn to love what you do. I hear so many times, I hate marketing, I hate sales, I hate this, I hate that. Well, if you hate something that is critical to the success of your business, guess what? You're not going to be successful. So my recommendation is to learn to love what you do. Find a way to love even the things that you don't love. Right? Figure out a way to love and appreciate them. Like, for example, I don't love accounting, but I love that it happens in my business, right? I love that we have a bookkeeper and we have a CFO and we have spreadsheets and we have QuickBooks. Like, I love that, right? I love that part of it. And so even when I have to do those things, which is not often anymore, I can have such a deep appreciation for the fact that this happens in my business, because it has allowed my business to withstand, tough times. It has allowed my business to withstand and grow. And so I love that accounting happens. I don't personally love accounting, but I love that it happens. Lesson number 6, learn to solve problems. In case you aren't aware, your entire job is to solve problems. So solving the problem of lead gen, solving the problem of nurture, solving the problem of booking calls, solving the problem of conversions. Our entire job as business owners is to solve problems. And so if that feels overly stressful to you, if that feels so much pressure, if you sort of can't tolerate that, maybe having your own business is not right for you, because I'm telling you that if you are struggling and you are at the very beginning stages and you are fretting and having tantrums over, a Facebook ad that is not, running the way that you want, or you are fretting over a lack of engagement in your Facebook group and you are losing sleep over that and you are having a meltdown, as you grow your business, the problems that you have to solve don't get smaller. They get bigger, they get riskier, they involve more critical thinking. And so it's not that, the lack of engagement in your Facebook group isn't something to be concerned about. It's your response to it, right? It's your response to it. And so the majority of the things that happen in a business are normal things that happen. And so taking problems in stride is critical for your mental health and your well-being. So learning to solve problems, because I'm telling you, every day I solve 50 problems, probably more, right? Little problems, especially then when you grow a team, because you're then responsible for solving your own job roles problems and then also the team, right? Whoever reports to you, you're helping them to solve problems. So it's all about solving problems. Lesson number 7, learn the finances of your business and manage them wisely. I did not do this when I started, and I got myself into a world of trouble because I wasn't able to save money. I didn't know how much I needed to reinvest back into the business. Then you get a random tax bill that you can't pay, so you have to have a flash sale in order to pay it. And so really learning the finances of your business. You are not going to be able to grow a profitable business if you don't understand the finances, meaning the expenses, meaning the budget, meaning the cost of acquisition, meaning rev generated versus cash collected, meaning your P&L statements. Like, I don't know how to log anything in QuickBooks, but I absolutely know exactly where we are in terms of revenue generated, cash collected, our profit percentage. I know exactly how much tax we're going to have to pay. I understand all of this and I had to learn it. So I am someone who failed grade 10 math, but I understand the math in respect to my business and the health of my business. And so if you are constantly overspending and you get hit with a big tax bill, like you're screwed. You're screwed. And so learn the finances of your business and manage them wisely. Take an accounting course. Take an accounting 101 course, right? Go and take some, go and read books on finances and business. It's all available to you, likely for free. Lesson number 8. Oh, this is a big one. The decisions you make today will determine your future. There is no doubt about it. Or the lack of decision that you make today will determine your future. And so it's this interesting thing being a business owner where we have to toggle between present day and future day. And it is a toggle because at any given moment, I'm in the future, like I'm thinking about the future. I'm planning 6 months in advance. We're talking about the future, but I'm also having to be in the present and live the day to day. And so it's this constant toggle back and forth between the present day and the future. But make no mistake about it. If you, for example, want to make 6 figures in a year, the decisions that you make in Q4 of the year prior dictate how that will go, right? It will dictate how that will go, for example. So if you want to launch your online coaching program in, let's say, the fall, you need to start 6 months prior to that. If you want to make, if you want to double your revenue, you can't start planning for that January 1. You really need to start planning for that like the Q3 of the previous year, because you have a lead to client journey, right? You need to be able to start growing your audience months prior so that the people that you get onto your list months prior are now ready to convert. So like the decisions you make today or the lack of decisions really do dictate your future. Lesson number 9, find what motivates you. So maybe money doesn't motivate you. That's cool. Maybe luxury goods motivates you. That's cool. Maybe being able to go on a luxury trip or just a trip in general where you pay for it. Maybe having Fridays where you don't have to work. That motivates you. You have to find what motivates you and really create the business around that. Otherwise, what happens when you're going through a slump? What happens when you're going through tough times? You're not going to feel motivated to persevere, right? This whole business thing is about resilience and follow through and stick fortitude and perseverance. Well, if you're not feeling motivated, right, then you're not going to show up and do a good job. So there has to be, in my opinion, there has to be something over and above money that motivates you, because you have to show up and do the best possible work no matter what, whether you're making money or you're not making money, because there's going to be times where you have bad months in the business. It's business. That happens, right? That happens. So lesson number 9 is find what motivates you. For me, what motivates me is time freedom, is the ability to be in control of my own schedule and change things on a whim. For example, I decided this week that I wanted to take my son away for a couple of days next week. Well, I adjusted my schedule in order to do so. That motivates me. That to me is worth working my ass off for, to be able to have that level of freedom and flexibility over my time and over my schedule. Am I working while we're away? Yep. I'm going to work because I didn't take it off, but I'm able to manipulate my schedule so that I'm basically done working by the time he wakes up, which is like 11 a.m. because he's a teenager. So find what motivates you. Lesson number 10. I'm sorry to have to tell you this. I really am. There will always be pressure. The bigger the business gets, the more pressure there is. And so the goal is to get really good at handling pressure. That's the goal. You get really good at doing hard because there will always be pressure. Add in payroll, add in people that work for you, right? And now not only are you responsible for generating revenue for the business so that you can pay yourself, but now you're responsible for other people and their livelihood, right? And dozens and hundreds of clients. And so there will always be pressure. And if you view that as a bad thing, you might not want to move forward, right? There is a plaque outside of, I forget what tennis it is. I think it's Wimbledon. And it says pressure is a privilege. And it is so true. The pressure that I feel every single day is a privilege, and it motivates me and it inspires me to do better and to be better, not just for myself and my own family, but for my team, for my clients, for my audience, right? Pressure is a privilege. Lesson number 11, know the mechanics of your business. I'm not an expert in the tech. I'm not an expert in anything, I think, other than marketing and coaching, to be honest. But I know how to do everything in my business. Maybe not like the accounting side, but if I had to, I could figure it out. But I know if my ads guy got up and walked away, if any one of my coaches got up and walked away, if any of my advisors got up and walked away, like, would they be missed? 100%. Could I fill in for them? Yes, I could. Right. And so I know how my business operates, and I understand from a logical perspective and a mechanical perspective how my business operates. And that's really important so that when you go to hire people, you are still responsible for the outcomes that they produce because it's your business. And so when we go and hire, let's say, somebody to run ads, before I had Jake, who was in-house, but I understood the logic of running ads. I might not know how to set up a certain type of ad, but that's fine. I know the outcomes. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I need my audiences. I know how the parts work, right? I know how the parts work so that if the machine breaks down, I can go in and fix it. I might not be able to actually install the part, but that's easy. You just hire somebody for that. But I can tell them where the part goes. I can tell them how it works. I can tell them how I want it to work. I can tell them how the outcome needs to be, and so on. And so it's really important for you, especially when it comes to the tech and ads, for you to know the sort of the strategy of it. And then the last lesson is you are the limiting factor in your own success. And when I say you, I'm talking to myself, and I'm also talking to you. No one and nothing puts a limit on you. And this is the work that I've had to do in my own mind, because for so long, I operated under the belief that who gets to have it all, right? Who gets to have it all? And I do. I get to have it all. Why not? Right? Why not me? And why not you too? And so we are the limiting factor in our own success. Either you are fighting to keep your limitations, or you are fighting to move past them. It's one or the other, right? It's one or the other. Either you are fighting to keep your limitations. Well, I can't do that because, and that won't work for me because, and he won't support me, and she won't this, and she won't that, and and blah, right? Or, yeah, I don't know how to do that, but I'm going to figure it out. I don't really have any support, but that's okay. I'll get some. There's just a difference. And so we are the limiting factor in our own success. So there you have it. Those are my 12 big lessons from being online for 12 years. I hope that at least one of them resonated with you. I would love to know your thoughts. I would love to have a conversation with you. Please leave a review and also come hang with me on Instagram. You can DM me. I'm at Lori Kennedy Inc. I would love to know, like, share which lesson resonated with you. What did you think? Do you want me to expand on anything? Like, let's turn this into a conversation. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.